Welcome to this Thursday Night Football edition of the Solid Sports Video Blog. I'm Troy West and thank you for joining me. Today's date is September 27th, 2023. Thank you for joining me. Big day in sports overall, but we're going to try to stick to football. But I'm definitely going to talk about this Damian Lillard thing near the end of the show. That's probably the biggest news it's been in a while. Him getting traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. I'll give my little details about that as we get into that at the end of the show, but we're going to stick with tomorrow night's game between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. A pretty big, huge game early in the season for week 4, as both of these teams seem like the teams to compete for this division. So we'll get into that in a few. We're going to look back at week 3. We're going to go through the scores. I give my commentary on all the games from week 3. And we'll also look ahead to week 4 after we preview this game, as this will be the first game of week 4. But we'll look ahead to Sunday and Monday. Sunday, of course, got a London game, international game early in the morning. And I think it's only one game this Monday in the Seattle hosting the New York Giants. That's a big game in the NFC as well. But first, let's look back on week 3. It was a wild week 3, especially in the 1 o'clock window on Sunday. But of course, last Thursday night, 49ers again dominant as they defeated the New York Giants 30-12. They didn't have Saquon, so I think that made a difference. But the Niners, to me, are just clearly the best team in football after 3 weeks. Brock Purdy seems like he's not slowing down. This 49er, both sides of the ball, the defense and offense, just deep all around. Playmakers on offense, playmakers on defense. And I still think they haven't reached their ceiling. That's what's scary. But another dominant win over the Giants on Thursday night. We get to Sunday, Colts over the Ravens in overtime 22-19 as a Ravens fan. And maybe it's just me being just not being optimistic. They just don't look good, especially the offensive side of the ball. And then injuries starting to pile up again. But it's no excuse. There's no way they should have lost this game. Gardner Minshew is a decent quarterback, but he looked too comfortable most of the time. Ravens offense just not on the same page right now. Hopefully they get it together. It's their first loss of the season, so hopefully they can turn it around. Big win for the Colts though, just for morale. We'll see if they they gotta go back to Anthony Richardson. He had a concussion, but I think if he's healthy, he'll play next week. Browns 27, Titans 3. Browns, again, that defense has been carrying them, but Deshaun Watson, I was happy for him. Had a pretty decent game, probably his best game since he came back. Titans, like I said, they're gonna have an up and down year. Like I said, the personnel got to get better. But we'll see if they can bounce back. But the Browns, to me, gotta start looking at them as possibly a contender as well. This is not a misprint. Dolphins over the Broncos 70-20. Just seeing the highlights of this game, it just was unbelievable. It just seemed like the Dolphins just marched up and down the field. Even they number 2s came in and scored probably half of their points themselves. Broncos, it don't look good. The morale is bad. Sean Payton definitely frustrated, which I can understand. Basically put his foot in his mouth so far, saying it was the worst coaching he ever seen the year before. Now he comes in and they definitely off to a rough start. Russell Wilson, I don't know. I mean, I like him. I still think he's serviceable, but you gotta start pointing the finger at him still, even though he had a decent game. But this was unexcusable and unbelievable. The Dolphins, to me, like I said, this is a very scary team. Only like one of the worries, of course, is Tua. Can he stay healthy? But if he don't, I mean, they still could probably compete. The defense to me still a little bit don't break. I think if that side of the ball comes together, then the Dolphins, like I said, they're going to be a force. Patriots, Jets 15-10. Patriots won that game. Jets, of course, in disarray since losing Aaron Rodgers. It's a lot of negativity on Zach Wilson. I'm not all the way there where some people say he should never play again and the Jets should have moved on from all this other stuff. I'm not gonna go that far. I mean, yeah, he's not playing well, clearly. But they going deeper into the locker room. If the locker room don't want to play, of course that's gonna be a problem because you can't lose the whole team. You got to go with the team what it's to do. They signed Trevor Siemian. I don't know how much that's gonna help. He's a decent quarterback, but not still what you need. So look like it's gonna be a lot for the Jets. The Patriots, they needed this win. Going to the 0-3 would have been bad for them. So they got a big game at Dallas. Zeke Elliott comes back this week, so we'll see if the Patriots can get a wounded Cowboys team. We'll talk about them in a second. Bills 37, Commanders 3. The Commanders come back to earth, at least for this week they did. Bills looking sharp. This is the Bills team we expected to see. Can they keep it going? Is it just a competition? 2 dominant wins. Raiders, of course, not that great. Commanders had potential, but they're not the elite. Big game this week against the Dolphins. We'll take a look at that game when we do our preview of this week. Lions, the team that's playing tomorrow against the Falcons, 20-6 was the score on Sunday. Bounce back win for them after losing to Seattle, but Seattle started to look like how they looked last year, so now that loss don't look as bad. Falcons, to me, still probably compete for a playoff spot, but they still young. They're going to have games like this. Detroit is all about, can they handle the limelight? We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Packers, big win over the Saints, 18-17. Disclaimer, Derek Carr did get hurt in the mid-third quarter. After that, the Saints offense got pretty much shut down. Jordan Love, give it to him, came back from 17-0 down in the fourth quarter to bring the Packers back. Like I said, Packers, this will be a big game. I think tomorrow, whoever wins this game tomorrow, it's going to be huge for the rest of the season. So we'll see. I think the Packers, like if I had to, I'm gonna talk about it, but I think the Packers might need tomorrow night game more than Detroit, because at least Detroit will have their home game, the second meeting. So, but the Packers still a good win for them. They was out. Aaron Jones didn't play, so they had some injuries, and they was able to pull out the win. Huge win for the Pack. Texans and Jaguars, to me, gotta be in that disappointing class. Just not looking good overall as they start 1-2. Texans, like I said, they've been fighting hard. C.J. Stroud, what a game he had. He looked like a top pick in the draft. This Texas team, yeah, they're gonna be a pesky team all year long. They have young talent. Division win, big win for them for confidence wise as well. Big win for the Texas Jags. Gotta look in the mirror because they too talented for this. We'll see if they can turn it around. Chargers Vikings. It was the 0-2 matchup. Nobody did want to go 0-3. Chargers win this game in a wild finish. Vikings gave the game away. The Chargers tried to give it right back to them. Just kept trying to give the game to each other. Clearly, Brandon Staley, the coach for the Chargers, is on a hot seat. Vikings, like I said, they lost a lot of personnel over the offseason. Offensively, they're just one-dimensional, period. And I think that hurts them, especially in the end of the games, because they can't throw the game away if they wanted to. Like, they don't have a running game. So, but a huge win for the Chargers. Can they bounce? Can they take this momentum and keep going? Chargers had the talent. I like Justin Herbert. Like I said, it's not all on him. Monster gave him over 400 yards. Keenan Allen with a historic game as well. So Chargers are ready, but can they keep this momentum going into the next week? We'll see. Seahawks over Panthers, 37-27. Seahawks, like I said, that first week they look good, but the bounce back the last 2 weeks look like a playoff team again. Panthers, no Bryce Young, but Andy Dalton played okay, but they definitely already see the report that Young probably will be ready this week for their next game. Like I said, it's a growing pain year for them. Seattle, like I said, they've bounced back. We'll see if they can continue their momentum going on to the next week. Probably the surprise of the season so far, Cardinals over the Cowboys, 28-16. Defensively, they just got beat up. Both sides of the ball, just physically. The Cardinals just took it to them, ran the ball down their throat. I see like that's the weakness to this Dallas defense. That's supposed to be all world. They did lose Trayvon Diggs. We got to give that Dang, I was rolling, man. I was rolling. I'll get back into the Dallas game in a second. I gotta redo this again. This is the play run. The play run must want to get promoted, cause it always interrupted me. But I be forgetting about my controller. I gotta, you know, keep a finger on it. But once I get into my bag, I be forgetting about it. So I just gotta do this part so this won't interrupt us again. But if you got a PS4, you know what this app is. So this is how I record all my videos. So hopefully, now that I got hit with that, I won't forget this time. But yeah, to get back to the Cowboys, it was a big loss for them. It has a lot of doubters coming out the woodworks, which, like I said, the offense, like I said, haven't had to do much. But when it was time, they didn't. So big loss for them. I think they're not on the class of San Francisco. Philadelphia looked it better. We're going to talk about them in a few seconds. So, but a huge loss. We'll see what they do against New England. New England got a good defense, and you know Bill Belichick is good with schemes. So Dallas got to be ready, or that could be another loss for them. Chiefs and Bears. Chiefs 41, Bears 10. Bears probably the worst team in football right now. Just off these first 3 weeks, just can't get nothing going on either side of the ball. The Chiefs look like the Chiefs again. More offense. Patrick Mahomes did what he did. Travis Kelce. The run game, like they were just a complete game for the Chiefs. Now, if this Chiefs team is going to be like this all year long, they're going to be tough to deal with. Not just in the AFC, but of course en route to winning another Super Bowl. Like I said, because you're not used to their defense being this stout. I don't think they allowed 20 points other than the last game. I think out of the rest of the games has been under 20. You know, usually Chiefs being more of a shootout, but dominant win for the Chiefs. We'll see if they can keep that going. Sunday night football was Steelers Raiders. Steelers won at 23-18. Steelers, like I said, it's just the offense. Can they be more consistent? Seems like they found a little bit of a rhythm in this game. Raiders, like I said, they have talent. Jimmy G, they said he had a concussion during the game. Josh Jacobs, what's wrong with him? I didn't know he was struggling this much throughout the season. So just like I said, they seem one-dimensional right now. Steelers, like I said, big win. They needed that win to keep their momentum going, but we'll see how both of these teams move on from this game. And Monday night was a doubleheader. Eagles beat the Buccaneers 25-11. Eagles looked as sharp overall. Passing game still, but you could tell it's more like kinks, because basically both of the interceptions by Jalen Hurts was sort of miscommunication type interceptions. The Bucs, you know, still, you know, they still show flashes, but they still not on a level yet. They might still compete for one of the wild card spots, maybe. But the Eagles, Joe Swift, he's like a whole new man. The way he runs the football so violently, so strategically. The Eagles just look, and that defensive line came alive in this game as well. So the Eagles look like the Eagles again. Just if they get their passing game together, that's going to be even more of a scary thought. And the final game was the Bengals over the Rams, 19-16. Joe Burrow toughed it out and played. So the Bengals avoid an 0-3 start. Rams, like I said, you still see talent on the Rams. Like I said, they're going to have up and down games all year long. But it was a big win for the Bengals to stay at least in striking distance of the AFC North, as everybody else is 2-1. They 1-2, so they couldn't afford to go to 0-3. So that was a big win for them. But I just hope Burrow don't get hurt again, because you could tell he's still not healthy. He still did look sporadic. I watched most of this game. The Rams, like I said, they probably in that wild card position as well, even though they 1-2. But you know, they're just not as talented as they used to be, and winning that Super Bowl pretty much cost them. They have a big salary cap and all this other things, so but still fought hard, but found out falling short. So that's our review of week 3. We're going to talk about week 4. The first we're going to get into tomorrow night's game. Let's see, who's favorite? Detroit, 1.5. I guess that's fair. I mean, that's fair. Lions, I think over the first 3 games, it looked a little bit better than the Packers, so that's not a surprise. But we're going to talk about Detroit first, since Detroit is on the road. Lions coming at 2-1 as well. Of course, lost to Seattle last week 2. Coming off the win against the Falcons 20-6. And it's sort of a Donovan, the defense, looked as sharp in that game, slowing down the Falcons. Of course, one of my bullet points here is the spotlight too hot. What I mean by that is when the expectations go up, see, like the Lions shrink a little bit. Even though last year against the Packers they didn't, so this is a little bit of a revenge game. They kept knocking the Packers out the playoffs last year on the last week of the season. But the week before that, they had a chance to clinch a playoff spot. They couldn't, and it pretty much hurt them, and they didn't make the playoffs either. But like I said, I feel like it's a different vibe, with the Lions. But like I said, you got to go in there, you got to do what you got to do and win the game. And can Jared Goff keep this up? Yeah, I think so. I'm starting to believe in Jared Goff. I was hard on him once he left even before he left the Rams. Just some of the games he had, even with the Rams. That's why the Rams felt comfortable going with Matthew Stafford, wound up paying off. They win the Super Bowl. And then the first year, Jared here in Detroit didn't play well. But the last 2 years, this year so far and last year, he played very, very well. He definitely rests the rest of his career. I think Detroit offense got to just be a little bit more balanced, run the ball a little bit more. And like I said, the defense got to play a little bit better. But I still like the Lions to win this division. And I think we're going to show it a little bit tomorrow night. To touch on the Packers now, Jordan Love, so far, he's played well. Overall, he's played well. Now, in the Saints game, I don't know what the Saints... maybe losing Carr sort of got into their head a little bit, but they pretty much shut him down the whole game. He just turned it on in the 4th quarter and did what he had to do to win the game. But in the other games, the game they lost, who they lose to? I think they lost to Atlanta. Yeah, they lost to Atlanta. And the week before, I think. And who they beat? Let me pull up their schedule since I have it here. But yeah, they haven't looked at they looked at great overall. But they did have a lot of injuries. Aaron Jones didn't play in the loss last week. In this near loss to the Saints. Let me pull up the Packers schedule real quick. Could have it off the top of my head. Oh yeah, Bears was the first one, yeah. And they lost a close one to the Falcons, so they could easily be 3-0 right now. But Jordan Love overall, he's looked at pretty good. He's looked at okay. So we'll see how things work out for him tomorrow night. But I think this is definitely his biggest game of his career so far. Because if Green Bay can win this game, it'd be huge. And like I said, I think they need it because they got to go to Detroit the next time. So. Yeah, you look at his numbers, yards, 60, 55, 7 touchdowns. That gotta be among the league leaders so far. Probably 2 or probably leads that. He probably at close to 10. But yeah, they gotta run the ball a little bit better. But I think they need this game tomorrow night if they're gonna win this division. I think they lose this game. I think they could cost them the division because they gotta go to Detroit and play them again. And revenge, I probably overblown that revenge day because Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, so I think since he's gone, and maybe they're not looking at it as revenge, but they'd like to get a win at home tomorrow night to set the tone for this division. Like I said, I think the winner of this game could be your division winner, possibly, because I think Minnesota is going to struggle all year long, and we see how the Bears look. I don't see the Bears turning around, at least not soon. So both of those teams are in trouble. Both of them 0-3, so I think the winner of this game will definitely put themselves in great position to win this division. But in my opinion, though, I think it's going to be a close, tight game. I think the Lions pull it out 20-17 tomorrow night. I think it's going to come down to Jared Goff executing the drive and winning. I think division games are always tough, always emotional. I think it's going to be tight all the way through, and I think Detroit will pull out the win on the road. So that's how I see it going. But both of these teams, though, I think both of these teams possibly could be playoff teams. But I think the Lions are going to finally take grip of this division for the first time in a long time and get the win tomorrow night. Okay, so let's look ahead. Let's go through week 4 schedule real quick, and then I'll reveal my power rankings for the week. My power rankings was kind of difficult. I won't say difficult. It's just who to put where, you know. So we're gonna get into that in a few seconds. But let's look at week 4 schedule, the whole schedule, and just touch on a few games. Well, I'm gonna touch on all of them. So. Alright, so we already talked about tomorrow's night's game. We get to the Sunday schedule. Ravens, Browns, that's a big game. The winner would be in great position. As Cleveland 3-point favorites, can't argue with that. Ravens offense haven't looked that good. Then they're going against this Brown defense. I need to see something pop for the Ravens on offense. I need to see it in this game. Even if they win this game, if it's another sloppy game, I'm not going to be too happy. I'll be happy with the win, but as a fan, they need to get better. So that's a huge game, though. This is a game in London. Falcons at Jags. Early 9:30 kickoff start. Jags usually just plays well over there, probably because they used this organization going over there, so they play well there. So I think this could be a bounce back game for the Jags. But the Falcons, like I said, they're showing some promise, so it ain't gonna be an easy one there. Probably the biggest game of the weekend, unless I see one bigger. Dolphins at Bills. I think this is a statement game for the Dolphins. Well, it's a statement game for both, but I think it'll be more for the Dolphins because some people still don't believe in the Dolphins yet. So I think they go up in Buffalo in that hostile situation, win that game. I think that will go a long way. Bills, if they win this game, some people probably start putting them up into the contender spot again. So we'll see about that. This is probably the worst game of the year because these probably been the worst two teams. The Denver Broncos at the Chicago Bears. Flip a coin. I don't know what you're going to see from any of these teams. I guess if you want to get somebody edge, I mean, they give Denver 3.5 points. I guess I can't argue that. I think Denver has looked at it a little bit better, but it shocked me no matter what happens in that game. Steelers at Texas. This has become an interesting game all of a sudden. Steelers defense will be a test for the young rookie Stroud, so we'll see how he react to that. That's what I'm looking forward to this game. Steelers, though, like I said, got to get that offense back in order, so we'll see. Another matchup between 0-3 teams, Vikings at Panthers. Like I said, I don't know about this game either. I think the Panthers will be comfortable be able to score some points. Vikings, though, just got too much talent. You'd be shocked if they lose that game, but we'll see. Rams at Colts. We'll see if Anthony Richardson plays. We'll see. They got an even score line here. I think the Colts could win this game, but the Rams, I don't know. That's a coin flip to me. But it'd be a huge win for the Colts and their morale as they 2-1. Buccaneers at Saints. This is a huge NFC South game. The winner of this game could, claim that they could win the division. Buccaneers struggled against the Eagles in the run game. Alvin Kamara still not back yet. I think he got one more weekend. I think after this week he'll be back. So we'll see if the Saints could exploit what the Eagles did. Buccaneers, they making some plays down the field. The Saints defense, though, is tough. So we'll see about that. Very interesting game there. Commanders at Eagles. Eagles, of course, like they found a little bit of a groove. 8 points might be too much because I think the Commanders, even though they lost that bad to the Bills, I think they're going to readjust some things. I think the Commanders could slow down the Eagles or defense as well, even though they didn't with Josh Allen. But I think the Eagles will win the game, but I think it could be a closer game than 8 points. Bengals at Titans. Like I said, Bengals, big win for them Monday night. Titans just got dominated. I don't know. This is a close game to call. But I think the Bengals need to win it if they're going to stay alive. Titans probably will have some time to get back into the South, but huge game for both. Raiders at Chargers, same thing. Winner of this game will be right back where they need to be. The loser will have to find some work to do. Chargers 5.5 point favorites. I guess that's fair, but the Raiders has challenged them in the past. This has been a good game over the last few years, so we'll see what happens there. Patriots Cowboys, I mentioned this game. Dallas, they still give us respect to Dallas. 7 points. I almost can guarantee that it's going to be a closer game than that. I know Bill Belichick ain't the type, to be worried about Zeke coming back to Dallas and all that. They probably just going in there saying it's a regular game, blah blah blah, all that. So, but I think they're going to try them though. They're going to see if Dallas, they're going to play with their mind a little bit. But I think they is going to try to run the ball because that's what you've been able to do against Dallas. But this is going to be an interesting game. If Dallas can't win this game, then we're going to go and reevaluate them. Cardinals at 49ers. 49ers 14-point favorites. Can't argue that. But the Cardinals, they fight. I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer. The Cardinals, that's one thing they've been fighting all year long. Joshua Dobbs has played relatively well. But the Niners are just too good. Like, I'd be shocked. Now, this would be a big shocker if the Cardinals could pull this one off. But I think the 49ers just saw Dallas let up. And they're going to go in there ready. It could, they could reach the 14. I just think, I just respect the Cardinals for fighting. I think it could be like a 10-point game. If I was a betting man, I just want to, see if I can make some money. I probably would bet. I'd take the points, but we'll see about that game. But I think the Cardinals ain't going to get. It might take a while. They might be a second half blowout. Like the first half, I think it's going to be close, and then Niners going to go in the locker room, make adjustments, and then maybe they'll pull away there. I think it's going to go like that. Chiefs at Jets, Sunday Night Football. We see what Patrick Mahomes did Sunday, but this is the Jets defense is on another level, so that makes it interesting. But how the Jets are going to score, that's going to be the question. Can the Jets get to 10? And speaking of the Bears defense, the Bears ain't look good, but their offense has even looked a little bit better than the Jets. So this could be a shutout. If Zach Wilson right now is the starter this week, so 9.5 for the Chiefs. Can't argue that. And our lone Monday night game, Seahawks at Giants. This is an even game. The way the Giants looked lately, it's like they up and down. Really, the two games they lost, they looked very, very bad in. And they almost lost to the Cardinals, had to come all the way back. Seattle, like I said, the first week, they hicked up, but they bounced back 6-10. I could see the Giants winning this game. But Seattle, to me, like I said, they just played overall better. But this is a big game. If the Giants have playoff implications, so do Seattle. This would be a big game for later on in the season. So, huge game Monday night there. Okay, so that's your week 4 schedule. So, only thing left to do is to go into my power rankings, and then we're going to have some final thoughts and get on out of here. Now this week, like I said, really, now it's really not that many undefeated teams. There's only 3? It's only 3, and they all my top 3. So I pretty much gave you who my top 3 is. But you just don't get the order yet. A bunch of 2-1 teams. Some of them have flaws. Some of them looked great. So, but I just went with what I felt, and if I think the team's a little bit better right now, I went with that. But the GMC list, just missed the cut. Dallas, I took Dallas off my list. Dallas was, I think it was 3. and they fell our way out. Like I said, they lost to the Cardinals. This was huge, and the way they got dominated. I just couldn't keep them up in the top 5, but I thought about putting them in the 5th spot. I thought about keeping them in the list just because they was, you know, they was third. I didn't want to drop them all the way out, but I just had to. Seattle, like I said, Seattle looked good to me. And like I said, proved me wrong again. But we'll see how they play Monday night. And the Detroit Lions, like I said, 2-1 as well. And like I said, they beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs is on this list, so I give them credit for that. So that's why I considered maybe putting them in that 5th spot. But I think the 5 teams here, I think these 5 teams could be around all year long. So I think that's why I went with these 5 teams. So at number 5 was not ranked last week, but they had been in my rank. I think it was my week 1 rankings. The Buffalo Bills coming at 2-1. Sister lost to the Jets in the Jets division game. They have played very, very well, dominant football. Yeah, maybe you could argue about the opponents, but Josh Allen to me still a top 5 quarterback. So I have put the Bills at 5. And number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. Now I thought about having them higher, but it would have been more off of reputation. And the Bears are just terrible. I mean, yeah, they dominated them, but the Bears are just terrible. The only why I consider putting them higher because they look like the real Chiefs as far as our offense again. And then if that defense continues to be consistent, the Chiefs are definitely going to move up this list. At number 3, the Miami Dolphins. They was 5th in last week rankings. They go all the way up to 3. Some people got them 1, some people got them 2, some power gets out of love. But I got them 3 because the 2 teams above them, to me, it's just a little small. Well, 1 is just completely dominant, and the other, I just think right now, I would just say slightly better because their defense is better. But the Dolphins' offense is so good, you consider putting them higher. But I got them 3rd. My top 2 stay the same. I got the Eagles there again at number 2. Like I said, you start to see them form together. Like I said, still making some mistakes. The Rizzo offense got to get better because that was really bad. They should have blew out. Their last 3 games should have been blowouts. They should have won. They should have blew out Minnesota. They should have blew out. They kind of did blow out Tampa, but it could have been worse. The way they played. They dominate on both sides of the ball up front, and what the team is, you can't deny that. So I kept them there at 2. I thought I'd put Miami 2, but I put them at 3. And then of course the 49ers are number 1. To me, just a complete, on both sides of the ball, just to be the most complete team. And then they got this Cardinals game, which could really annihilate them. Even though I think the Cardinals going to fight them though in the first half for sure. But the Niners has been the best team without question to me. It's not even a question in my mind that they should be number 1. So, at number 5, the Buffalo Bills. At number 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3, Miami Dolphins. Number 2, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 1, the San Francisco 49ers. And that's my power rankings for going into week 4. So, I did, now we get to the end of the show. I did, and it still could happen, but I'm definitely going to do a blog Saturday no matter what, but I don't know if that's going to be my last one for a while. I don't know if I'm taking this break or not. It's a lot going on with that. But we'll see, but I'm definitely going to do one Saturday, so we'll do our picks and all like we normally do. We'll talk NBA, which better talk a little Damian Lillard before we go. And MLB, I think this is the last week of the season, so the playoff picture should be just about complete, as other teams have clinched playoff spots and divisions and stuff like that, so we'll look into that. I skipped last Saturday. I was just trying to figure out some things. Also, honestly, just wasn't feeling great, so but this Saturday I plan on doing our normal Saturday blog, so join me for that. This Saturday we'll do another Crash Team Rumble stream. This is a new season kicked off. A new map will be released tomorrow, I believe. So I'm gonna do a video on that tomorrow. Shout out to my new subscriber B. We've been playing Crash Team Rumble in the mornings together. he lives overseas, so the time is hard, you know. Right now on his time, about 6 o'clock my time, Eastern Standard Time. It's like 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock midnight over there. So I'm gonna try to get on early. I usually do my live streams around 3. I'm gonna try to do it around noon. But I send out notifications and stuff for that. What time I do it. Definitely gonna try to be earlier than 3. Or maybe I might do 2 in a day. I might do one early in the morning with him, and then I might do one later in the evening. So stay tuned for that. Alright, so that's gonna be the end of the show, but I definitely gotta get my take on Damian Lillard getting traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. That was the biggest bombshell of the day in sports, without question. I couldn't believe, because Milwaukee was never mentioned. Toronto was mentioned, of course. You know, he wanted to go to Miami. And I was just saying something about, I don't know, Stephen A. I say that about Stephen A. Smith. Y'all know who Stephen A. Smith is, saying that he still really wanted to go to Miami, but I guess Miami couldn't maybe get a part of this deal. Phoenix is a part of the deal. It was a 3-way trade. The Portland gets Drew Holiday and DeAndre Ayton, so they still are, you know, there's 2 good players to get back for Dame, and then I think they got some draft picks and stuff as well. Phoenix pretty much get a bunch of expiring contracts. They ain't really get nobody of significance, really. But I think they need some big men. I think all Phoenix need is just to fill out your roster with a few role guys, a few shooters off the bench, and some big men, and they'll be fine. So that's why I'm surprised that they helped facilitate this trade. Or maybe they just want to Dame out the West, but you won't have to deal with Milwaukee to the finals, so maybe they figured, well, I should get Dame out the West. I don't know what Phoenix was thinking, but they ain't really get nothing, honestly, in my opinion. According to the trade, according to what I read, they ain't really get much. And Milwaukee, of course, got Dame, and you know, so I was telling my buddy, like my buddy James, y'all heard of him. Go back and watch my NFL roundabout series, the Ravens Steelers portion of that. He's a Steelers fan and he's a Bucks fan, so he was the first person I reached out to just to get on his thoughts. He is excited. I think for both of these players, I think for Dame, I think he's going to play better, because really, you know, this is the first superstar he played with in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Prior to, well, I consider Giannis a big man, but you know, he still plays outside. But now Giannis, to me, he have a lot of one-on-one, because Dame could take over a game. I think if Chris Middleton get healthy, so that's definitely a bigger 3-headed monster. People say, like, people probably worry about defensively. Can they still hold up defensively? I think so. You still got Bobby Portis there on the front line. You got some front line guys there. Giannis is good defensively. Dame, you probably don't consider a good defensive player, but he's still good offensively, so your guards going to have to guard him, so that sort of negates that. So the Bucks is definitely a big move. People are already putting them as the favorite to win the title. I don't want to go that far yet, because I want to see what Philly going to do. Is they're going to keep Harden. Boston's still going to be a force to be reckoned with now that they got Kristaps Porzingis, so that's going to be a fun matchup, Milwaukee Boston, throughout the season. But I won't say it yet. But we'll see. You know, they got new coaching, so they got some things they got to figure out. So but I just want to get my take on that. We'll talk a lot more about this on Saturday, as I have more details, and I'll give you the whole rundown, the whole trade. But DeAndre Ayton, I think Phoenix, that was probably why they got involved too. DeAndre Ayton, he just needed to go. Phoenix, the last couple of years, he just was you know, he's always brought up in trades and stuff like that. So maybe that was their main reason, just to do this trade, just to get DeAndre Ayton out of there. But they got to get some role players around Bill, Durant, and Devin Booker for sure. But alright, that's it, y'all. I just wanted to touch on that. Enjoy the game tomorrow night. I give a preview and a review. I'll probably get on, you know, do a short on it right before the game starts. And after the game, if I'm still up, I might give a little review. I'll do it in the morning. But I think this is a big game in the NFC North. I think the winner of this game definitely will be the favorite to win the division throughout the rest of the season. So, but I think because the game is in Green Bay first, it's early in the season, so it's not going to be as cold. So the second game being Detroit, I don't know how far apart of that is. I ain't look at the schedule. And we'll look back on that game on Saturday. So I'll be seeing you guys this week. I'll see you guys this weekend. Thank you so much for watching this special presentation on the Solid Sports Video Blog, Thursday Night Football Edition. Enjoy the game tomorrow night. What a weekend, what a day of sports. I'll see you guys Saturday. And thanks so much for watching. Peace and love always.